Hey everyone, Lynn, are you running the meeting? I think you're muted.
Hey, Nick. Can
Hi.
you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you now.
sorry. Welcome to today's meeting. I think I had some microphone problems. So let's go ahead and get started with welcome new folks. Is there anybody new here wants to announce themselves so we can welcome you?
Hey, hi, I'm Akash. I'm new here. I came across this project and found it interesting, so I thought I'd join this meeting to see how it's going. Yeah. Nice to meet you all.
That's
Welcome.
awesome. Yeah, welcome. Do you want to share a little bit background of you and why you're interested in Agent Gateway? Because we always love to hear how other people find us and what they are interested in doing with Agent Gateway.
Yeah. So I'm a software engineer, mainly work on full stack applications. I'm currently working at a company called HomeSum. It's a grocery e-commerce platform. And I came across Agent Gateway through the Linux Foundation website, and it seemed really similar to how API gateways work, and I just wanted to understand more about how agent-to-agent communication works and what are the checks and balances you can put in place for that kind of communication. So it was just a extremely relevant project that I just wanted to learn more about.
That's amazing. Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad to hear how you find us, and it looks like you are potentially going to look at using Agent Gateway in your platform.
For now, for personal use, but I would like to learn more about it to see how I can use it. Yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Do we have, thanks, Akash. Do we have anybody else who is new here? Okay, maybe Jay, have we seen you before? I don't remember, but I'm not in every single meeting.
I was there in the last meeting as well.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh yeah, you were in last meeting. That's awesome. I saw you in the meeting minutes now. Awesome. I guess we should move on to the next topic. I thought some people might be shy, so no other intention. The next topic is 1.4 milestone. So I guess the next release, do we have the date of July 23rd as the dates? Because I'm just started thinking about the MCP spec of July 28th. I'm curious your take on whether we should actually release maybe like 1 or 2 days after or around the same time as the MCP spec, so that because I envision when MCP spec goes out, we want to talk a lot more about how Agent Gateway could potentially help with the new spec. I'm just curious people's take on this.
Here was my thought. I'll tell you what I wanted to do, and I'll tell you what I think maybe will be more realistic. Is I wanted to actually do 2 releases by the 28th, because I thought we could do some really quick turnaround on new improvements on the continuation on the UI work on the that we did in 1.3. I thought we could finish those in 2 weeks, but I think it's going to actually take more than 2 weeks. And so what I think we should do is just 1 release roughly around that same timeline, probably, of the 23rd. But we don't have to. So for the MCP, when they release on the 28th, it really doesn't mean anything to us that it's the 28th. We can support that release today. I mean, not literally in the code today, but like we already have a PR that covers a large chunk of it. I'm sure there'll be a couple follow-ups that, chip off more support. But there's no reason we need to wait, is what I'm saying. So we could release on the 23rd, 5 days before, and we can say we fully support the new spec. And I think that's potentially even better, because then people don't have to wait,
Yeah, so
Um,
my only worry, I don't have a lot of experience with MCP spec. So John, do you feel based on their previous trends, there would not be much change in the last few days? Because I assume they would have like a release candidate 1 or 2 or 3. So the spec, the official spec probably would be very close to a few days earlier when they released the last release candidate. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think my belief is that they don't change it really. And the reason why they have a release candidate and then so long before the release is so that people can go build out support for it so that they have support on day one, not because they're still thinking about making changes. So I wouldn't anticipate changes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm happy with a few days early. As long as we feel the spec would not be changed and we could potentially announce early so people can try it out. I think that's very beneficial for the project.
Yeah, we could even do like really early, like maybe even Friday, maybe like an alpha build and say, you know, if you want to try the new spec, here's how you can do it. But it's quite hard right now to test it because sure, Agent Gateway supports it, but not many of like the clients and servers actually support it. And so that was one of the challenges I had when working on it, is that it's kind of hard to test. I had to write a lot of my own clients and servers to do it. Because really only there's like all the different SDKs and only the Go one is really up to date, and their implementation has a lot of bugs. So we'll see. I mean, it'll get better in the next 4 weeks or so before.
Yeah, so as part of the release, do we also plan to ship some sample for people to try it out? I'm just thinking loud here. How do we prove Agent Gateway can be helpful without samples?
I think by the goal of the MCP project is that all the core SDKs, and which with that comes all the examples like the everything server and the inspector and stuff, that will all have support. It's just a awkward current state in the meantime because we're too early. So,
Got it. Okay, so we will have examples from
I think so. I mean, I hope so. Like it's not our examples. It's like the MCP community's examples, and like the MCP inspector, for example, like that doesn't support it yet. So.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks for talking me through that. I guess right now the milestone is pretty empty. So if you have anything in mind, would be great to add to the milestone. I think we have quite some work planned. It's probably just not being added to the milestone yet, particularly for the new MCP spec. Is there anything else we want to talk about regarding the next release and also the MCP spec? All right, I'm not seeing much hands on that. With that, I think we have a demo and Agent Gateway presentation. So Abhihai, you are on the call, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So should I stop sharing and you can go ahead take the control?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so Abhay is our Google Summer of Code mentee, and he's been working on some LMD improvements with Agent Gateway.
That's awesome. So as far as the mentorship works, Nina, what's the time frame? Is it for the whole summer?
Yes, yeah, I think we're almost at the halfway point. Like I think next week is the halfway point. So yeah, and Danyan's the other mentor on the project, but he's on vacation today.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the context. Up here, go ahead, take us through.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Abhay, the GSOC contributor focusing on Agent Gateway and LLMD. Today I'm sharing a brief update on recent PR merges, followed by a live demo and a look at the upcoming roadmap. Okay, so first look at what merged in recent weeks. I have 4 merged PR across Agent Gateway and LLMD router, with 2 currently in review and 10 total issues filed. in which 6 already resolved. Let me walk through those most relevant to today's demo. Uh, the one I want to highlight and the one that directly makes today's demo possible is PR1600 in LLMD router. Previously, when you deploy Agent Gateway in standalone mode, the chart would create an actual Kubernetes service object, and you had to manually specify the service name, uh, namespace, and port. The problem was this was drifting away from the how GAI means Gateway API Inference Extension ounce upstream chart was handling it. So I ported upstream GAI PR2905 to LLMD router and then deleted the agent gateway service YAML file entirely. Also, then for that I added a logical backend name helper that auto derive the backend name from your pod levels. Agent gateway no here agent gateway here no longer needs a real service object. It just use a logical name internally, and this was reviewed and approved by Danian. And the other three PRs are all in agent gateway itself, like inference pool target refs support, fixing a stale version, reference in the syncer readme, and cleaning up a misleading placeholder version in chart YAML. And the two PR remain open is 1619 and 1816. 1619 in LLMD document agent gateway as a supported proxy type. After 4 rounds of review, one catching a bug where config argument were cleared. It is already for final approval and in review with Daniel. Also, the PR also the PR1816 in agent gateway implement order destination endpoint fallback, which is closing the issue 144. Okay, and now let's jump into the demo of the LLMD. Here I want to show this working live. The PR we merged last month 1600 change how agent gateway find model backend. Let me walk through the architecture first, then show it running. Here the calls hit agent gateway on port 8081, and agent gateway is a proxy sidecar, so it doesn't do routing itself. It asks EPP, and EPP watches the cluster, scrape the VLLM pods metrics, pick the best backend by using token load scorer and prefix catch affinity. Then agent gateway forward to that pod. What's new here is like agent gateway used to need a real Kubernetes service to find the model pods before. Now it is derive a logical backend name directly from the pod level, which is app is equal to VLLM and SIM in our case. So no Kubernetes service created. This is the same pseudo service model GAI PR2905 introduced upstream. We ported it to the LLMD router chart. This is the install command. The key flags are these three: set router proxy type agent gateway, set router inference pool dot create false, and set router set router EPP flag secure serving false. These are the three key flags, and this is what come back a real completion from Quen. Let me show it live. Wait, let me show it. Yeah, my screen is visible. All of you.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see your terminal.
So here only one service is created, just EPP. No agent gateway service is created. That's the proof. Like before, there's another service created for agent gateway, but now that's gone.
There's a typo, I assume. Agent gateway, you're missing a T.
What's so here's the like in one part two containers is running. One is EPP and agent gateway. Like they both run in same container, same pod. I mean. That one's port forwarding. Like 1 second. Yeah, here I fire a real request. Then yeah, here the request path. The call agent gateway port 8080. Here EPP picks the VLLM simulation pod via the logical backend. Agent gateway then forward response back. So the logical backend name, the chart generated is VLLM sim same as the actual match level. Now moving to my next slide. Like the next slide is that's the demo done. Now let me give a quick picture of where the GSOC project is heading. The three gaps: what's done, what's next, and what. And then I have a few questions for the team. So the project is structured around three gaps in agent gateway benchmarking coverage. Gap 1 was the reproducible environment kind cluster, GPU free VLLM simulator, where 11 out of 11 stand-up step passing agent gateway, EPP, and model server all are working end to end. That's the foundation, everything else runs on. And gap 2, which is in progress, like gap 2 is the actual benchmark scenario, a three-way comparison, plain Kubernetes service, agent gateway plus EPP, and Envoy plus EPP, all using the same inference perf harness. Code lives in agent gateway repo. That was a scope like pivot from Nina on June 13 meeting. And prefill heavy and decode heavy workload are done, running live on kind. The gap 3 is the regression detection gate, a GitHub action nightly job that takes the gap 2 baseline number and fails CI if P99 latency tripped more than 10%. This is blocked on gap 2. Like first we need to finish gap 2 for that. Gap 2 comparison. Like, the design of the gap 2 is mirrored from GAI on reference benchmark. Their headline comparison is GAI versus plain Kubernetes service, not GAI versus Envoy, just plain service as the control. Same inference perf chart run twice, pointed at different endpoint workload scenarios. Workload scenario vary client side shape only. Prefill heavy, decode heavy, prefix catch aware. Now, what we built? We built the same pattern but added a third target in Y plus EPP to isolate where the cost actually come from. Is it EPP or is it the proxy? We already have real numbers. Plain service TTFT is around 3.5 millisecond. Through agent gateway, it is around 8.7 milliseconds. Same load, same cluster, same model. That's actual EPP plus proxy overhead. The one gap with no precedent in scenario 2. EP plugin variants. GAI on benchmark doesn't vary EPP plugin config at all. So there's no template to follow. That's something I think I would like to team's input on. So, yeah. Fourth thing already working. Scenario 1 is the plain service baseline. That's the control. Scenario 3A and 3B are the workload scenarios. Prefill heavy and decode heavy, matching GAI on scenario axis. And the full benchmark infrastructure is running. Setup script, inference per Helm chart, result collection into result are collected into output. And three things still ahead. Scenario 2 is EPP plugin variant, queue only versus cache. Queue only versus KV cache plus queue versus all three. Need designing from scratch. And scenario 4 is the dedicated chatbot streaming workload. SSE and multi-turn chat already work in the existing scenario, but there is no dedicated chatbot synthetic dataset yet. And gap 3, the CI get is waiting on gap 2 baseline JSON. So I have 5 things I would like the team's input on while everyone is here. These are the 5 questions. First one is, does the three-way comparison framing make sense, or would you frame the headline comparison differently?
I can give mine, but I would just start with the plain service versus agent gateway at first. I think it's easier to scope down and compare side by side.
Like agent gateway versus plain service.
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't need to include in Y here.
I think it doesn't add that much. Like I think people can run their own comparison. So I think having the plain service versus agent gateway is like definitely what we want. And then any other implementations are, I think, on those communities to implement. So I think just focusing on the plain service and agent gateway makes sense for the first goal.
Okay. And second one is the for scenario 2, the EPP plugin variants. No reference exists in GAI benchmark. So what's the right scope for that?
I think we can probably hold off on this. Like it, since there are no, plugin variants to test against it, I think it doesn't really make sense to invent our own.
And third one is for scenario for chatbot streaming. Does the existing multi-turn chat coverage count, or is a dedicated chatbot synthetic dataset still needed?
I would do it first with the existing workloads, and then we can see based on the results if we need to create a separate data set. I think that would be a lot of work, so hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Maybe we can take some of the discussion offline. I just realized we only have a few minutes left. Abhinay, thank you so much for going through the work. I look forward to see your performance benchmark numbers as well. I want to kind of open the floor to see if there's any other open questions from anybody as we getting close to the end of the meeting. All right, I'm not seeing any question. Does anybody have any question for Abhinay for his work? And what's the expected output of the work?
Yeah, I mean, okay, like I feel like you can also speak to this, but we want something published on our website to kind of similar to what LMD has on the performance numbers and nice visualizations. I think the original goal was to actually have it run as a job that could be triggered. Maybe not like nightly because that'd be very expensive, but as like a reproducible script that people can test the performance of the inference extensions in Agent Gateway specifically. Because right now I think LMD isn't running, they're only running, I think, Istio. So it would be good to get numbers from Agent Gateway to kind of be able to let people have their comparison between different proxies using the inference extensions.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Very cool. Thank you for setting the context. All right, any other topics we should be discussing? If not, let's wrap this up and see you all next Wednesday. Happy the 4th. Thanks, bye.